I need to take a break from politics. So bear with me. Hello, my name is Jennifer and welcome to Sweet Home California. I want to share a little bit about prepping and why it's something every responsible person should do. As both the Girl Scouts and the Boy Scouts say, be prepared. And as Proverbs 6 says, look to the ant, you sluggard, and consider its ways and be wise. It has no commander or ruler, yet it stores its provision in the summer and gathers its food at harvest. So I think we can learn a lot from that. In my short video on prepping last week, I led off with earthquakes, fires, power outages, and riots as reasons for prepping. But really there's so many more mundane reasons as well. We just don't know what tomorrow will bring. A job loss, an injury, an illness, any of those can be devastating to any household that lives paycheck to paycheck. I myself have put off preparing because it seemed like it was just too big of a task and it was just too expensive to get started. After all, if you live in debt, how can you justify putting aside things that you might never need? So the first thing to do is to tackle that debt. Look at your budget. Do you use a free budget program such as Mint, which I'll link below, or do you use a spreadsheet to track your income and your expenses? Once you have those categorized and you see where your money goes, what's necessary, what can be reduced, what can be eliminated. I love coffee, for instance, but I make it at home. I don't go, except for very rare occasions, do I go out to Starbucks or any of the other places that you're going to buy $5 coffee. I have a Keurig that I got at a yard sale, but I don't even buy the K-cups for the most part. I use the reusable filters, and I buy the coffee in bulk. And I've actually even started roasting my own coffee, and I hope to make a video to show you how to do that too, because that way you can save even more money and keep your coffee as fresh as possible. But on eating out, that seems to have been a luxury that we've all been forced to find out that we really don't need either. But it doesn't have to be cut out altogether if you plan for it. Like when you go out, ask for water instead of soda or alcohol or tea. Not only is that healthier for you, but it can help reduce your bill by 15 to 35%. Like I may not be able to make the Olive Garden's chicken no cheese soup, which I love, and that's generally what I have when I go out to Olive Garden. But I can choose to enjoy the iced tea when I get home, and then just have water at the restaurant, and save $3 because that's how much an iced tea at Olive Garden costs. The unlimited soup, you can have as much soup as you want, and that's $8 for a meal that I don't know how to make. So I'll pay the $8 on that, and I'll even ask for a takeaway box, and then I have some chicken no cheese for lunch the next day. But just adding that drink on that meal will add about 35% to the cost of the bill. So eating at home, though, can also cost you more than it really has to. You can buy in bulk when you can and look for store sales, but also make sure you know how to keep what you've bought fresh and not have it go to waste. I can't begin to tell you just how often I throw away stuff because we just forgot it was in the refrigerator and it wasn't sealed properly, and it just goes bad a lot quicker than you think it would. So anyhow, one of the things that I bought recently to help with that is a food sealer. The one I got is a food saver, and I got it used for $50 off of one of the marketplaces, I think off of Facebook. So you don't need to buy a new one. They can be very expensive, but I would definitely recommend that you look for one that not only will seal bags, but also has an accessory port so you can seal containers that are reusable. You can even seal jars like mason jars, or even spaghetti sauce jars, any kind of jar, depending on what you have to do the sealing. For instance, I bought a jar sealer that will only work with mason jars, and I bought that before I really knew what I was looking for, and that alone was $25. So I got this machine that was worth like $150, $175 new. I bought that for $50, but then I wound up paying $25 just for a jar sealer. But then I did some research and I found that I could just make my own jar sealer out of about $10 worth of materials, and I made a PVC jar sealer, and I'll have a link for that as well to show you what I'm talking about. But anyhow, then you can just put your jar in the PVC container, you suck out all the air, it seals the jar, and then now you've got a sealed jar that you can put in the refrigerator or you can put in the freezer, and it'll help keep your food fresh a lot longer. So when you're using a food saver like that, you can put the leftovers into the freezer, and instead of getting freezer burn within a few months, oftentimes it can last for up to a year. And then things that you put vacuum sealed into a refrigerator, instead of lasting for a couple of days, it may last a week, even 2 weeks. So it doesn't keep your food fresh indefinitely, but it certainly helps you not waste any money on that. So highly recommend it. Another great way to save money and to eat healthy is a food dehydrator. And I found one at a yard sale for $15. And that's a great way to get fresh fruit. Now is a great time to get the fresh fruit and the vegetables, because we're right now in the middle of summer here, towards the end. Harvest time's coming up, so there's farmers markets out there, and you can get them fresh at Costco and Sam's Club and even your local grocery store, and stock up. But fresh fruits and vegetables, they don't last all that long, so you can dehydrate them, and then they can last for upwards of a year or even 2 years, and still keep the nearly the same nutritional value. So highly recommend that as well. And I'll hoping to do a video on how to do food dehydrating in the future. Can't speak. So anyhow, as you save money on your food, you can then afford to stock shelf-stable foods for a rainy day. I'd recommend canned goods and rice and pasta, because if the electricity were to go out, you wouldn't need to worry about the freezer going out and then losing your investment, and that can be devastating. As for cooking, canned goods are already cooked in the process of the canning, so it can be eaten cold if necessary. So it's another good tip for if you're in a power outage, that you can actually eat the canned goods without having to cook them. Just doesn't taste as good. Anyhow, just be sure to buy foods that you're going to normally eat anyway, and write the date of your purchase on the package so that it'll help with keeping track of your food rotation. If you don't have much storage space, if you live in an apartment, for instance, check out space under the bed. A rolling plastic container can hold quite a bit. Just remember to rotate your food. So what you want to do is you put your new purchases in the less convenient storage places, like under the bed or in back in some bedroom closet, and then you take the food that is there already and you bring that into your kitchen, into your daily pantry that you're choosing your meals from on a daily basis. Just make sure that you keep your food in the house or the basement. You don't want your food to be stored in a shed or an attic or a garage, because the heat is going to decrease your shelf life. And also, if you have boxes of food, mice aren't going to be able to get into the cans, but if you have boxes, mice will just eat right through that. And you want to make sure that it's in your sealed house and not someplace where they can more easily get at it, like attic and garage and outdoor shed or something like that. So and get started on this part, even if you still have debt. Just start with having a goal of having about a month's supply on hand, just in case you miss a paycheck. Then at least you and your family aren't going to have to miss a meal. As you learn to keep to a budget and you throw out less food waste by learning to preserve it, you're going to be able to tackle that debt a lot faster than you thought you would. I know this is a pretty basic primer for prepping, but I'm just at the beginning of my journey as well. And I thank you for joining me and sticking with me this long. Let me know where you are in your journey in the comments below, and let me know where you think I should go from here in planning my next prepping video. And please like, share, and subscribe. Help me get the word out. Just keep the faith, and like the Girl Scouts say, be prepared, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.